To make your own hand-bound visual journal, collect materials that you feel want to go together. Once you start looking, you'll find it's everywhere. Use what you have. For this journal, I'll start in the middle with a small book to go inside the journal. I have a long brown paper bag. It has a little tear in it, so I'll just repair it with a little piece of another bag and a bit of glue. Next, I find a piece of paper that would be the size of the pages in the book. I have 8.5 by 11 inch paper, so I'm going to fold the bag just shy of 11 inches, a little shorter than the size of the page. Then I fold it in again about 2 inches from there using a plastic card or my finger to crease and fold the paper. Next, I'm going to use a few sheets of paper cut down to about 4 inches tall by 5.5 inches wide. I have some pages from an old date book that I dyed with avocado pit dye. And I have some misprinted calendar pages and blank sheets from the back of a notepad. So I fold the sheets in half. It's not perfect, but it's just right. Then align the center fold of the sheets with the back fold. Maybe hold these in place with a boundary clip or a paper clip. Using a sewing needle, a thumbtack, or an awl, create 3 holes. I'm not too precious with this, but if you want to be a little bit more exact, you can measure a hole at the middle and then 1/4 way from the top and 3/4 way from the top. An easy way to do this is to create a guide for yourself by taking a piece of paper the same height, folding it in half, and then in half again, and then poke through all 3 sheets at the points where you have folds. Now we're going to bind with a simple pamphlet stitch. Start at the center hole, going from the middle of the book to the outside. Come back through the top hole, skip the middle hole and go into the bottom hole, pull through to the back. Now we go back in the middle hole. I try to find the other side of that middle yarn. Pull the slack a bit and tie it off. Cut the ends and hide them if you like. Now on to the inside pages. I use a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper as my guide and piece together some smaller sheets to fit. I overlap and secure them with a glue stick or whatever glue I have, or tape. Cut off and fold any excess to fit. These Franken pages are mashups full of former lives, and everything has a story. I have pages of a book that came to me in pieces, a collection of blank pages from backs of school notebooks and sketchbooks, and blank bottom halves of a piece of junk mail. I'm going to add a corner to tuck things in later. This is a piece of thick cardstock like paper for the pocket. It's like end cuts from another project. I glue down the side and the bottom, and that could be enough. A stapler also does the trick. I'm going to sew this because I like the decoration. It's a little bit more of the avocado pit dyed handspun wool. The paper is so thick that I need to poke some of the holes before sewing, so I just use a little piece of cardboard underneath and the needle and create the spots where I'll sew. Then I just secure with a couple of stitches and cut off the excess. For the next page, I have a slightly larger sheet from a music textbook. So I'm going to fold the paper on one side to create another place to tuck things. The bottom is also a bit longer, so I'm going to fold that and cut off the excess. To hold things in the side flap a little bit better, I'm going to secure the bottom with a little scrap piece of paper, wrapping around the bottom and the side, and securing with a bit of glue. Now I have a little side pocket. Another bottom pocket on a piece of loose leaf graph paper. I have a coin wrapper I stapled to the bottom and a little of the side. I'm using the very last bits I'm scraping out of my glue stick. And I just want to wrap the scrap paper around to cover the staples. Security envelopes have all different patterns on the inside, so I like to take them apart and turn them inside out. It's a little bit like showing the beauty of their vulnerable side. So I once called them insecurity envelopes. Ha 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 ha. A bit of glue or some double-sided tape works to put it back together. Now we bind the whole piece. I take my cover of a slightly thicker paper and then a piece of translucent paper, my graph paper with the bottom pocket, and my insecurity envelope. I'm going to clip that on the side to hold it together. Then my music book page with the side tuck, the lined paper with the bottom pocket, the Franken pages. I have a piece of sewing pattern paper, and then I clip those lighter and smaller pieces with the paper bag with the little book all together. Center it well enough in the middle and clip to hold all the inside pages to the cover. Here I'm making a guide out of last week's homework planner, and I rip a piece the size of the middle bag, fold it in half, and then I measure 1/2 inch from the bottom and from the top. To find the center, I have a piece of paper that I ripped in half. Then mark lightly the location of the 3 holes to bind the whole book. I place the whole entire stack on a piece of cardboard, and then using a thumbtack, I poke all the holes. You could also use an awl if you have one. Back in an old cork, and then I'm going to bind it. I have waxed linen, but I think I'm going to use another teeny tiny book It looks a little bit like a tiny tea tag or a matchbook style book that's connected to some wax linen. So then I'll have yet another book inside the book. And to bind, we're going to go through the middle. Turn it over and go back to the top hole, coming through the middle. Skip this center hole and then go into the bottom hole. From the back, come through the center, making it snug and tying the tail and needle ends around the middle thread. Snip the end and rub it into the knot. Now we can remove all of our clips, fold the pages, and the cover. And voila, the book is done.